Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Eugene.
And Anne-Marie.
And my coffee's going to taste different than your coffee.
Oh. I already know that yours is better than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
So, it's Eugene and
Anne-Marie.
And we're drinking Brew.
Yes.
And I have done something different with mine.
Did you do the water jumpy outie and then the 50 and then the...
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a concentrated ratio and added water to it. If any of you guys are ever interested about knowing how I do my coffee, feel free to give me or feel free to comment, let us know. That's kind of a nice reminder before we get started. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Those things. Anyways, per usual, we have two different topics. First topic, or two non-coffee topics and two coffee topics. And the premise is that we're half awake. Today, I'm extremely half awake.
Me too.
I was extremely concerned that I was a liability on the road as I was driving here. Luckily, no one else was on the road, other than a large baking truck.
Baking truck?
I don't think it was like baking in the truck.
Baking? Okay.
But I think there was
baked goods.
There was baked goods in the truck.
I see.
But my coffee question is, why are there so many different types of brewing methodologies for different coffee countries?
Oh, yeah. And mine is white burlap.
Why burlap?
Why burlap?
Why such an itchy, just
Itchy,
non-reusable thing? Well, it's reusable, but it's just, I would never wear it. And then my non-coffee question is Polyvagal theory. Polyvagal theory. It is poly.
I forgot what I said. What did I?
Polyvagal. Say
and
that fast.
yeah, I can't.
Polyvagal theory.
My question was, why are glasses, prescription glasses specifically, so expensive?
Porque.
And boy howdy.
Boy howdy. So we can kick off with, I don't remember who started last.
Last? Rock, paper, scissors?
Last? Yeah, we can.
Did you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot, or do you do it on the scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, that sucks.
You
get to choose who's going to go first.
Yeah.
And it's going to be you anyways.
Okay. Do you want to learn about glasses or jute?
What are you excited about? I mean, you look like you're excited about jute.
I'm excited about both. The answer to the burlap question is far simpler and easier to answer.
Are you ready for it then?
Yeah.
Okay, starting.
Okay, so burlap is made out of a fiber from a plant named jute, Jute. It is the second most produced natural fiber in the world after cotton, just in case you were ever wondering, called jute.
But it's far less desirable.
Yes, but like 13 million tons are made a year or something insane like that. It's great because it is 100% biodegradable.
Okay.
So even though it's like it is also recyclable. You can recycle, but it's biodegradable.
Got it.
And it is the majority of it. 97% of it is produced in Bangladesh. Right? Like India, Bangladesh.
Bangladesh is a very small area.
Yeah, India
13 billion
and Bangladesh.
tons?
I may have I didn't write down the exact amount, but it was many millions of tons. I remember that much.
So we make 14 billion tons of cotton then.
Cotton.
I can understand the cotton part. Everyone was cotton. Billion tons.
Yeah. Anywho. So the reason why we started using it, it really is, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing, no mind-bending story. It is once coffee started getting popular enough around the world to be needed to be like mass-produced and mass-packaged and everything. In Brazil, they got a hold of these bags and started putting 60 kilograms in each bag. So the burlap sack equals 60 kilograms of green coffee beans, more or less across the board. Obviously now there's
Grain Pro.
Well, I'm getting none of that.
Not all grain.
I'm getting none of that. But like now there's like, we got a 30 kilogram burlap sack the other month and things like that. So it's obviously not, but generally across the board, 60 kilograms. What's inside, I was gonna grab examples. What's inside of your burlap bag, it's not just coffee beans and then the burlap. There's actually, the coffee beans are inside of what's called a Grain Pro bag, which is a like pretty thick plastic, think of like a Ziploc bag, but like the most sturdy Ziploc bag.
It's a thick bitch.
It's thick, and it's green.
And it's Grain Pro.
And it's Grain Pro, and they're all called Grain Pro. They're used to keep out the moisture and humidity fluctuations in the air and things like that. Very good, very important for the beans. But basically, jute bags were around the turn of the 19th century. So for a while is when they've been.
It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a long time. Bangladesh has been under the heel of the coffee industry.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Did we start this timer?
I don't even think Bangladesh was around in the 19th century. So
Yeah, like India.
yeah, 40s.
Yeah, okay. And so basically, in short, in conclusion, in summary, henceforth, because hitherto, the reason why we use burlap is because of the same reason you had a nickname in college. It's cheap and easy.
That there was a bullseye for your joke and it
Shut up.
Ow.
I tried.
It hit the wall
I tried.
and broke.
I tried. You still got. I still called you cheap and easy.
Or
so
what
it's
you
fine.
could have been, what you could have said is, it's just like your nickname from college, not
Shit.
the reason why you had the nickname in college.
Damn it! I knew I was close.
You almost had it.
I'm not cool, okay?
It's early.
It's early.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anne-Marie's attempt to insult me. It is insulting. I'll give you. How about that?
Thank you.
It was her birthday yesterday, so I'll let her insult me.
Thank you. That's my birthday present. One shit insult.
Not like you haven't been insulting me at the workplace every single day. We actually have probably one of the most abusive workplaces.
Yeah, honestly.
Mostly because of
our HR department is a mess.
Yeah, and it's me. Cool. I do feel like there has to be a better, alternative.
Like what, though?
But what?
It's biodegradable.
Okay, but what is
It's
jute?
recyclable.
What is jute? What is the byproduct of jute other than just the fibers?
I don't know. It's a plant that flowers. All I know is.
So is there potentially, fruits? Is that fruit?
What are cotton plants?
Flowers. But jute for some reason feels like it's like the stem. It's like the stem.
Is it just because it's really coarse and so that
It's so coarse, yeah, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Or maybe there's a better way of processing jute so that it's a little bit more. Yeah, that looks exactly like how it would feel.
Stemmy.
Yeah,
Very stemmy.
Yeah, it's huge stem. It's all stems.
It's cheap. It's easy. It's biodegradable. It's easy to make. It's easy to use. I don't know. I'm sorry that there's no conspiracy
really
theory.
like my pour over then.
Yeah, I know. I
Yours
know.
is so harsh.
I
Okay,
know.
starting mine, and I'm going to talk about why are there different coffee methodology or traditional coffee brewing techniques across all of the world. As most of you know, there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. In Costa Rica, they have like a cotton sack.
Sock.
It could be a sock if you were so inclined. And then in the Middle East, there's Turkish coffee. Japan has siphon coffee, which isn't traditionally Japanese. It's actually from Germany. And then you have the Ethiopian ceremonial coffee, which is you roast it on a pan, grind it immediately, brew it immediately. Everything's fresh. You always add a little bit of sweetener, and then in Mexico you have it where you brew coffee with cinnamon and sugar, and God, that sounds so good. But the methodologies of how all of this is brewed and all of it's kind of different, but it's like the Tower of Babel. There was coffee in Ethiopia, and all of a sudden like it grew into this big old tower of like coffee brewing and everything, and then somebody took a piece of coffee and they ran off of it to another part of the world, and another person took another piece of coffee at another time throughout their life, or throughout the life of the world, and they took it right to another part of the world. And so what I'm trying to say is that coffee is taken to different regions of the world where there are different resources available to be able to make coffee, and then along with that, different cultures, and all of it kind of just turns into a mishmash of what's available at the time and how do we use what's available to make coffee in the best way possible.
That makes sense.
I'm realizing we have a shit ton of background noise right now.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize. Our ice machine has an opinion of its own. But
turn the ice machine off.
The biggest thing about coffee and its differences is that the way that I look at it is kind of just like humanity in general. It's like everybody kind of wants the same thing. Like everybody wants to be caffeinated. Everyone wants to have coffee. And everyone wants to make it. But then when we get to the point of how we get there, it's kind of free for all. Like everyone just kind of figures it out. And a good way to look at it is kind of like here at the coffee shop, we have our way of doing espresso, which is, to me, seems very straightforward and simple, which is you put it into the grinder, it puts the grinds coffee in, you measure the amount, make sure it's 17, and then when you distribute, tamp, and you put it into the group head and turn it on. All of those steps to me seem very straightforward. But then the moment you put somebody from a completely different background behind the wheel, you realize how subjective every piece of that can be. It can be as bad as people don't empty the puck and they just leave it in there, and they don't clean their portafilters. But like when we're training baristas, sometimes you get individuals that just the way that they do it, like it's correct. They do it correct. But also not the way you would have done it.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't think about, like, another good example is kind of like folding clothes. You get, like, for me, my clothes are folded. My wife folds her clothes also similarly. They look the same, but the way that we did it can be infuriating to the other.
Do you guys separate? Okay, no, never mind. Just whoever's folding the laundry.
I do my own laundry. She does her own laundry.
Modern day love.
Yeah, no, it's called your laundry smells like shit, so don't put it with my laundry.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Which usually means that our laundry actually gets done and it just sits in two different piles.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's that. Like, it's not entirely that sexy. Like, it's not too much to dig into. Of course, what we could do is maybe next time dig into a specific coffee tradition like we have before, like Alamazzo coffee, the Italian one that you guys are. Mazza de Cafe.
A Mazza Cafe.
A Mazza Cafe. So something like that where, you know, we dig into more traditional stuff, but the reason why that exists is because when coffee is introduced to a region, to a people's, to a culture, what they have available at that time is what they use to make the coffee. You could have some random guy from the Dutch East India Company show up to Brazil and be like, hey, this is how we do it in our place, which was what, throw it in a pot in the ship or something like that?
Sure.
And the Brazilians were like, we have jute.
Jute. So, suck on that.
But yeah, there it is.
There we go.
There we go. Ready?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, are you guys ready to learn about glasses?
Yeah, we're so ready. Also, we did not talk about our questions.
No, we didn't.
Going!
Okay, so I did a couple of calculations just for shits and giggles to give the breakdown. Essentially, so the average cost of an eye exam, all of this is without insurance included to make it easy.
Got it.
Okay, average cost of an eye exam is between 75 to 250. So average it out a little over 100. Okay? eye exam 100, a little over 100. For basic single lenses, just your basic, not bifocal, not transition, not any fancy coatings or anything, just like your traditional whatever, 113 on average. Okay, and then your average cost of frames is about 240 on average. So it's like each component in its own, in my personal opinion, is kind of expensive. Other than the eye exam, I do get that, obviously. But quality frames, not like luxury designer frames, but quality frames can cost as little as $4 to $8 to produce.
Luxury is literally no difference.
Luxury can be,
I guess they could put diamonds in it.
luxury could be up to $15 to make.
Ah, yes, of course.
So why do you ask? Why? I will tell you right now. So the top 4 eyeglass companies in the world are accountable for 60% of our revenue. 40% of that 60% is one brand.
Yep.
Called Luxottica. Just in case you're like, well, I've never heard of this one. Don't worry, it's because Luxottica owns 80% of the eyewear brands. That
Ray-Ban.
Ray-Ban.
Do they own Ray-Bans?
Pearl Vision,
Ray-Bans.
Glasses Hut, Target Optical, Sears Optical, Ray-Ban.
Any like luxury collaborations like Armani,
Coach, Oakley, Valentino, Prada,
Smith.
Chanel, exclusive. They're the only ones that work with the companies to make their glasses. And as well as vision insurance. They're the second biggest vision insurance. They own the second biggest vision insurance group. 2, Luxottica, guys. And essentially what it is they have created a monopoly on the eyewear industry, and because they own 80% of it, they set the price, they set all of that, and competitors that are not owned by Luxottica have to keep up with that demand that Luxottica is presenting. So, for example, Oakley was their own independent company, and they're like, hey, Luxottica, this is messed up what you're doing. We want to not do that. And Luxottica was like, ha, ha.
and bought them.
And then, made them like fail all, like they lost all of their money. They went bankrupt almost, I think. And then they bought them.
Yeah.
So essentially, glasses, because I even looked up like how lenses are made, because I was like, why are lenses, 100?
It's really not that hard.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's all machine done as well these days. I can understand like specialty lenses, like bifocal and stuff
Bifocal, that kind of stuff. But even still, like,
even
really not that hard.
But they're pre-made. That's the thing. Like at this point, when you're getting like 80% of people, if they're just getting regular schmegular prescription eyewear that isn't like a crazy prescription or bifocal or anything like that, the lenses are already made at the opticians. Optician?
Optometrist?
Optometrist.
I fucking don't know. So
Glass doctor. Glasses doctor.
Glockter.
Glockter. They're already there. All the doctors are doing are cutting the lens to the shape of the glasses frames that you chose, popping them in. And you know what? It's done by a machine.
So there was, just jumping on,
I'm done.
Yeah, so there was a competitor that came out, Warby Parker. As many of you guys know, there's Warby Parker. And they're not owned by Luxottica, whatever.
Yeah.
But they did a case study when they were starting their brand. Because they like went into it, they looked into it, there was a bunch of like, well-off individuals, I think they're white, And they were sitting at their MBA program and they were like, glasses seem to be pretty expensive. We should look into that. Yeah. And so they did look into it, and they found out that glasses are actually really cheap to produce, and like, oh, we can absolutely compete with this. And they came into the market originally, or they were testing the market with glass prices that were extremely reasonable, like $50. And somebody said, I'm not buying those. And by somebody, like the majority of their focus groups were like, oh yeah, so they're trash. Like, truth is, they're not trash. Ladies and gentlemen, wake the fuck up. Glasses do not need to cost that much for you to actually get out of them. I had a $50 pair of glasses from China that were better than any pair of glasses I ever got. Plus, I had more compliments on that than any other pair of glasses I ever had. And then I got LASIK, and I opted out of being part of said hamster wheel of glasses. Luxottica was also started by a pioneering single individual. It was one dude in Italy.
Some Italian bastard. And
then he was very, very good at being bullish.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Don't shy away from cheap glasses. Seriously.
I looked it up. I was like, how much does it cost for the materials of like a metal, like aluminum frame? Aluminium.
British.
Yeah, and the cost came to for about 40 grams worth of aluminium, which is what an eyewear frame weighs roughly, very roughly on average. 88 cents.
Stop
charging $500.
This is why the world is broken. All right.
Okay.
Polyvagal theory. So, polyvagal theory is the idea that your vagus nerve has 3 different types of responses. And it used to just be like, there's 2 different types of responses, but no, there's 3. And the different types of responses are, number 1, fight or flight. And that is just your sympathetic nervous system, and it's immediately like, oh, something happened and I want to fight or flight. And it's kind of like when Anne-Marie walks into the shop in the morning after being late. She is fight, flight, fright. But yeah, I wasn't doing any of that. I was actually in the bathroom. And then there's the parasympathetic system, which the parasympathetic system is, one of it is, you see something, you just freeze. Like you're so overwhelmed, you're so scared. You just walked into the bathroom after the customer has had their coffee, and you're just like, And then the other part of your parasympathetic nerve system is you relax.
Your standard,
you breathe.
Your social feeling.
It's not entirely like even like standard. Like it's, from what I understand, it's like where your body gets to like, it's where recovery happens. It's where your mind cleans itself during sleep. It's like a state of relaxation that's actually super healthy for your body. And why? Why does this matter? What is the point of it? Like, why do I even care? It's like, yes, I know that I'm scared. I know that I get stressed. I know that.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? But the reason why polyvagal theory exists and why it is important to know about these things is that it helps to address certain situations, like number 1, therapy. Say if you are a trauma victim, or you have PTSD, or you have some sort of thing that you're dealing with, polyvagal theory allows for therapists to properly address a client. So they can use stimulus to figure out, oh, this client is getting stress from this specific type of input, so now I have to help them get back from the sympathetic to parasympathetic by training them on how to get there. Another option is hospitals. Imagine waking up out of a coma and everything is like super bright, there's loud noises, everything's going crazy, and then that's the way it is for the entire time while you're in the hospital. Your sympathetic nervous system is acting out and it's like, hey, I'm stressed and I'm gonna have a really hard time recovering. So a lot of hospitals are taking this theory and trying to put it into practice and creating more calming, peaceful situations in the hospital. Less fluorescent lights. Same thing in the schools. If there's a kid that's acting out, same thing. Changing the stimulus.
Yeah.
And then another part is special education stimulus. Again, it's like physical activity that allows for the parasympathetic nerve system in the positive light to take over. Mm-hmm. And then finally, at a coffee shop, I'm just kidding. But you're probably wondering, like, how does this even work? Like, what's even happening? And so subconsciously, your body is consistently taking in inputs from around you.
Uh-huh.
And as you have instincts when you're born, and as you learn as you grow, you find out that there's certain inputs that are like, oh, that's dangerous, or oh, I shouldn't do that, or oh, this is good, like, oh, I'm safe. Mm-hmm. I take a lot of time observing my son, and I think I can tell when he's, subconscious, or when he's like feeling safe. Mm-hmm. Like part of it is like he does this thing where he like rubs his hand against his mouth, and he usually has like a sleeve there, mm-hmm. and it's like it's a comforting sensation. Mm-hmm. And so he does that pretty often, and then he's learning that if mom and dad are frustrated, they can raise their voice, and that can be a stressful situation. So that's a very dumbed down way of looking at it, but there are things like the smell. Like when you walk into a place and it smells meh, it could be a sign of like, oh, this is not a place I want to be. There's disease, there's bacteria, there could be an animal here. Like there's those types of things. Noises in a coffee shop, like here, people think that this place could be haunted because there's just random noises that you hear that aren't associated with anything that you can see or observe. Mm-hmm. So with polyvagal theory, your body's taking in all of these inputs, and then it is subconsciously or unconsciously doing things. There are ways to promote healthy parasympathetic responses. Number one is
meditate.
Breathing.
Damn it, that was my next.
But meditation is technically like controlled breathing.
Yeah.
But meditation is one of those. Yoga is one. Although they say not stressing yoga, not hot yoga, like just straight yoga. Like
how there's like yin and yang yoga.
Sure.
One of them.
Yeah.
One of them is the like.
Tai Chi.
No, I just like flow. Like you're flow, constantly moving, and then the other one is like deep. Hold the pose, slow moving. I can't remember which one's which, but yeah, I'm right.
Sure. And so there's other things like tensing muscles a little bit, and like to the point of like not straining, but like if you tense your muscles, you relax.
Also tapping.
And then tapping, and then hugs, looking at people in the eyes, creating trusting situations with stuff. Like there are a lot of ways to promote parasympathetic. First one is just breathing. But yeah, that's polyvagal theory in a very basic form because it can be very complicated. And like there's a lot of words that weren't made for 12-year-olds, and that's kind of what I was like trying to do is like, can I explain this to a child? And a lot of pieces I really couldn't.
Yeah.
So
big brain stuff.
Let's talk about our next questions.
Yeah.
Because I have come up with one.
That's great news.
Yeah, great news. So recently we've been doing a lot of work on making sure that we have been looking through defects that come through coffee, and I would love for Anne-Marie to give us a deep dive on green bean defects and then roasting defects.
Defects and...
It could be a two-parter. Green bean defects can be actually very expensive, so we might need to get to the roasting defects later.
How about this? Ooh, I have an idea. I do green bean defects.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
You do roasting defects.
I'll do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love
I'll
that.
be like, this is what Anne-Marie does for her coffee, and this is what you can expect when you drink it.
This is what you can expect when you drink it, and this is why it's bad this time.
Trash.
Trash.
And then for my non-coffee question, I actually had something.
I had one like 3 days ago, and I was like, that's a great one, and then I didn't write it down.
What is carbon fiber and why? Is it, one, so expensive, and then two, so white? Yeah, what is carbon fiber? Yeah, we'll just do that. Because you're always like, why do you have to make your questions like
Why
that?
do you have to make it so, like, that's a great question.
I just want to make sure that there's
I
enough.
research what you want me to research.
No, I just want to make sure that you have enough, like, to research.
By narrowing it down.
Yes. Because there are, every once in a while, it's like, what is this? And it's like, it's this.
But that's when you, listen,
You're getting very good at this. She's getting very good.
This is an off-camera conversation.
She's gonna fight.
My question, it was such a good one, and it's gone. Do you like jazz?
Roasting defects.
Roasting defects, what is carbon fiber? Ugh. I would like to know what I'm hungry. That's all my body is telling me right now, is I'm hungry. What? Speaking of.
What? Speaking of.
Shut up. It was there.
Are
and then
you
I left.
using like?
No, I'm.
Are you using cues? Speaking of, and then like something comes after that.
I'm just hoping something comes out.
Speaking of.
Speaking of.
What were we speaking of?
And therefore, unlock $3,500 worth of AI tools.
Interesting.
Ooh, tell me about AI. Just tell me about AI. That's it. I'm leaving it really open.
Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, per usual, thank you so much for joining. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm a little more awake, but I'm still like absolutely exhausted right now.
I don't know how I feel most of the time.
I don't feel like a styrofoam or a bag of styrofoam peanuts, so.
Sometimes you might though.
And if there's any topics, we're staying on that. We're asking y'all.
Please.
Please let us know.
Let us know.
Bye-bye.